Are you worried your students might be cheating by using AI? Or are you unsure how to guide them to use ChatGPT the right way? Well, today I'm going to be sharing with you exactly how you can help your students use ChatGPT ethically and effectively. And I'll be giving you clear signs to spot to see if a student has gone a little bit too far with using AI. Hey there, teachers. Welcome to Miss Estruch Teach and Tell, the podcast where every week I dive into all the tips and tricks that make teaching life so much easier. Whether you're a veteran educator, an early career teacher learning the ropes, or balancing the classroom with being a busy parent, this will help you streamline your workload and bring a bit more balance to your life. You bring the coffee and I'll bring the teach and tell. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Miss Estruch Teach and Tell, the podcast that helps busy teachers streamline their workload. I'm Katie Estruch, a biology teacher since 2009, now a content creator as well, and your go-to teacher for tips that actually help in the real world of teaching. And today we're diving into a topic that suddenly landed on all of our plates, which is ChatGPT in the classroom and also students using it for homework. And I'm not talking about banning it or panicking every time we see a well-written paragraph. I'm talking about how we can equip our students with the skills and also boundaries to know how to use it properly. Because I'm sure you've seen many of my podcast episodes before where I do advocate for using ChatGPT as teachers, but I think the same thing for students, that they should be using it, but they need to know appropriately how to use it and what the boundaries are. So whether you're just curious about how students should be using it, or you're worried that students might be using it to cheat and for plagiarism, or you just want to find out ways that you can use ChatGPT to save time, then you're in the right place for this episode. Now, before we dive in, quick coffee catch up. And as I said last week, I'm still on the squash because I do batch film in one day. It's still the same day, so I've still lost my voice. It's been busy. There's been so many things going on recently. Things like we had the bank holiday weekend and we actually had a street party barbecue with the neighbours, been on a hen do, been doing so many live lessons on Instagram, on YouTube, but also like paid for tuition lessons. That has been absolutely jam-packed. But it's all been good fun. So hopefully you've had a good week as well. And now that GCSE and A-level students have gone on study leave, hopefully you've got a bit more time to just breathe and get the endless list of jobs done that we always leave for game time, which is now. But anyway, let's get into the main content. Let's talk about how we can spot AI use, but also how to teach students to use it responsibly. So let's start with teaching students to use ChatGPT ethically. And the most important part is helping them to understand that ChatGPT isn't cheating if used correctly, but it easily can be if they're not following certain guidelines and sticking to certain boundaries. So here are 3 ways we can actively teach students to use as a study support tool. Number 1, use ChatGPT to generate practice questions. So I would encourage students to use ChatGPT to write them short answer or multiple choice questions on the topic they've just been studying. And this is a brilliant way to practice active recall. It's the same principle as them making flashcards, but so much quicker. And they can generate sets of questions, blurt them out, and then check their understanding by answering without notes. You can even have them bring their generated questions into the class and they can swap it with a partner if you were to set that for homework. And then that way they're still engaging deeply with the content, but not relying on ChatGPT to do the learning for them. They're using ChatGPT to make revision resources, then they are still doing the revision. Number 2 is one that I love using as a teacher and also to share it with them as students, and it's asking ChatGPT to explain tricky concepts in simpler terms. This is one of my favorites. Students could paste in a definition or an explanation that they just don't understand, and they could say, "Can you explain this to me like I am a 15-year-old studying GCSE biology?" Or break this down into steps that I will easily be able to understand, and bullet point it to make it easier. Again, they're still engaging with the content, but ChatGPT here is acting like a study buddy, almost like a tutor as well, or a teacher if they haven't got someone to turn to outside of lessons to ask for help. I've even had students use it to summarize revision notes for them after they've written their class notes, or to generate analogies to help them to remember processes like osmosis or enzyme action. And done right, it can genuinely support and deepen their understanding, and it's a free alternative for people that that can't afford tuition or can't necessarily get access to their teachers all the time. Number 3 is brainstorming ideas, not writing full answers. So we need to draw the line here. Getting ChatGPT to help you think of exemplars or structure your response, fine, but copying a whole essay it writes for you, obviously not okay. So it's making it clear to the students that it's okay to ask it to suggest how you should structure a particular answer. So for example, evaluate questions. It could recommend that you have 2 pros, 2 cons, and a conclusion, but it's not okay to ask ChatGPT to write the evaluation answer. And that's like the distinguishment I'd give them. You could even model this in lessons. So maybe you could give them a ChatGPT prompt to help them build an outline. So basically like scaffolding their answer, but then you task them with writing the full paragraph or the full answer from the bullet points they've been given. So the next big thing then is what to watch for to try and spot if students are actually using ChatGPT incorrectly to cheat, particularly if they're doing it on purpose. So let's talk red flags, because while AI can support learning, there's no denying that some students will use it inappropriately to shortcut the process. So here are the common signs to look for that could indicate that a student is using ChatGPT to cheat. Number 1, the tone is overly formal or inconsistent. So does the writing that they've presented to you sound nothing like them? And it's pretty obvious, you know your students. And I've seen students with average writing skills suddenly turn in a paragraph that sounds like a university dissertation. It's especially obvious when the student's previous work has spelling issues or informal phrasing, and now suddenly it's word perfect and the grammar is spot on. Number 2, the content is vague or beyond the specification, doesn't really match the exam board. AI often gives answers that sound good, but they might be too broad and they don't actually match exactly what is on the specification, and they might go a bit off topic. And if a student starts throwing in terminology or examples that you haven't taught them before, they're not on the spec, it's worth asking them a few questions about it to try and gauge, have they actually genuinely just done some research and put that in, or have they used ChatGPT and not even bothered to check it to realise that is not on the spec. Number 3 is if their answer is perfect and there is never any misconceptions, no grammatical errors, and just no personal touch. Real students, even the top students, usually make a few small errors or have a personal way of explaining things. And if the work is just too clean with no rough edges, that is a red flag. Number 4, same phrasing as ChatGPT outputs. If you're suspicious, run a quick version of their question through ChatGPT and see if it gives you an answer that is almost identical. You'll start to recognize the particular phrases and the punctuation and grammar that ChatGPT will always output, and once you've seen it a few times, it's hard to unsee. That said, this is where we walk a fine line and we want to guide and not accuse. So if you are unsure, a great strategy is just to ask them, can you talk me through how you came up with this answer, because it was really impressive, and I'd love to know how you've managed to turn your answer around and make such great progress. If they've written the answer themselves, they'll be able to explain it. If not, they're going to quickly run into trouble, and you might even be able to tell from their reaction that they feel guilty or they're trying to hide it, and you never know, they might just come clean completely and say, yeah, actually just use ChatGPT. So let's get to the quick win of the week that you can try it tomorrow or even today. Is ask your students to use ChatGPT and start to teach them to use it ethically and appropriately. So you could ask them to create 5 revision questions on a topic that you've just learnt that day. So you could tell them the prompts to use, and in doing this, let them know what is and isn't appropriate. Then say for homework, print those out, and then next lesson, you're going to bring them in, swap, and the starter can be quizzing each other using the different questions and answers that they've created on ChatGPT. So they'll be practicing retrieval, peer teaching, and learning how to use ChatGPT ethically and appropriately, because ChatGPT isn't going anywhere. So there's no point trying to ban it. You need to be teaching them how to use it responsibly. The resource roundup for the week. So the quick freebie is, if you haven't already seen my ChatGPT episodes for teachers, then I do have 2 freebies freebies that are linked to ChatGPT, so prompts that you can use as a teacher and also ideas of how to use it as a teacher. So I'll link those in the description below for you. But that's it for today's episode. I hope you're walking away with some clarity around ChatGPT, how we can use it to help students, not hinder them and not try and ban it, give them the guidance that they need so they can see that AI can be an incredible classroom and homework tool if used appropriately. And don't forget, you've got all of those freebies in the description below. But that is it for this week. I'll see you next week. You bring the coffee and I'll bring the teaching towel.